Ladies and gents, welcome to Desert Island Dickhead, episode 12. Can't believe it. Fantastic. And we have a brand new guest, Emma Scarr. Who the hell is this bloke?
Well, today we're very lucky to have Mr. Ron Regan from Hackney and now resident of Walthamstow, who's a musician and good friend as well of the boot sale, I believe.
Yeah, I met Ron
It's a boot sale
selling. You were selling gear on the boot sale.
I sold you some stuff.
You
I
have.
remember it well.
And he sticks out a mile because he's got this white, ancient. I mean, is it a replica?
It's a replica car, yeah.
Of a what?
Well, it's a Daimler Tourer from about 1912.
1912.
Yeah.
Anyway, you've always come back from that boot sale, so you've had very interesting talks with Ron about music.
Yeah, if you ever go to our local boot sales around this area, he sticks out a mile because of his white steed.
I'll be there Saturday morning.
You will be, yeah?
I will be, yeah.
I shall be as well. Weather permitting, of course.
Yes, of course.
Emma Scarr.
Let's launch into the first question. Can you tell us about your earliest musical memory?
I can. My grandmother had a wind-up gramophone. I was about 4. It would have been 1951. And I played two songs particularly. And my cousin reminded me of this the other day, actually. One was The Laughing Policeman and one was Bye Bye Blackbird.
I can hear Bye Bye Blackbird in my head, but how's The Laughing Policeman
Oh, it's a
go?
bit difficult. Well, it's the chorus is
Yeah.
Is it?
it's that one.
That's the one.
Yeah, and I do know that one as well. So they're songs that have lasted then, if I know.
Well, they were funny comedy songs, weren't they? I loved them, you know. I was only that big.
Well, they became. They had an extended life because BBC Children's Radio used to play them all the time.
Yeah.
They did.
That's probably where I heard them
Stewpot Stewart
Yeah.
and people like that.
Yeah, I knew Ed Stewart, funny enough,
Yeah.
from the Water Rats, because I'm a member of the Water Rats, which is like a show business fraternity, if you like.
Oh.
And Ed was a member of the Water Rats. Yeah, he passed away, must be 3 years ago now.
Okay.
I wonder if they played that at his funeral, The Laughing Policeman.
Well, I don't
With
know.
the laughter.
I'm not sure what
But
they played.
it was a big hit in the 30s, that song was.
It was, that's correct.
And it was inspired by a real policeman, John Tubby Stevens, the Tubster.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Mind of information here.
Very good. So what was the first single you bought with your own money?
Well, you don't know whether anybody remembers the London Hospital. There's a market, obviously, called Whitechapel Market. Yeah. And I remember going down there, and it was a song that's a bit of a corny song, but I loved it. It was Moon River by Danny Williams. Andy Williams recorded it as well, of course, but
Yeah.
Danny Williams did a lovely version of it, and I bought it and I played it as well all the time. It was a lovely tune. I think it was it written by Henry Mancini? I don't even know who wrote it.
No. Do you remember how much it cost?
It would have been pretty cheap. It would have been about 1961, so it would have probably been about 3 or 4 shillings, something like that.
Shillings, really?
Yeah. Well, it's pretty
You're
decimal.
going to say pence?
You're taking us down memory lane here with wind-up
Yeah.
gramophones and shillings and pence.
I'm old.
Yeah, that was a #1 hit. It was the Christmas hit
Yeah.
of that year, 1961.
Yeah.
But the funny thing, I think the people in this country will remember Andy Williams's more, won't they?
No, Danny Williams went to #1, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't
pretty
around
sure.
then, Johnny.
Well, I was, but
What, 1961?
yeah, I was 6.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so I forget how old you are.
I'll tell you who sings a good version of it as well. It's Donny Osmond.
Oh,
When Donny Osmond does his show, they were on the Andy Williams show as kids. And
yes, they were.
Donny Osmond does a tribute to Andy Williams, and he always sings Moon River.
I wrote to Jim will Fix. I only ever wrote to Jim will Fix It once, and that was to see if he could set up a fight between me and Donny Osmond.
Why is that?
I don't know. He got on my nerves.
Oh my God. Right, well, moving on smoothly then to the first album bought with your own money.
Well, it would have been Billy Fury, of course. My
Of
two
course.
my two favourites were Billy Fury and Sam Cooke.
Oh, wow.
But that all stemmed from when my dad bought me a transistor radio, about that big. And he used to take it to bed under the cushions and tune into Radio Luxembourg. Some of your viewers will remember it was a very dodgy signal. Sometimes you got it good, and then when the weather went bad, and then you get it.
Was it on a ship, was it?
No,
Was that not the
No,
one
he
that was
used to
on the
listen
ship?
to it on the ship. That's why it was. A
no. In actual fact, it was a station from Luxembourg.
Oh, I'm mixing up with Radio Carolina.
You're thinking of the pirate ships.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a different thing, but a lot of the people from the Luxembourg went on to the pirate ships apparently.
Oh.
But that was where I sort of first got into Billy Fury and Sam Cooke.
So, sorry to interrupt, but Sam Cooke was the American, wasn't he? That
Yes,
did,
he was.
Don't know much about his
Exactly, yeah,
beautiful-
having a party, twisting the night away.
And am I right? Billy Fury was from Liverpool,
He was.
and I only actually don't know because I've known the name for ages. But I did a gig in Liverpool last year,
Oh, right.
and I was having a walk round the dock, and there was a statue of Billy Fury. So I sent it to him, and he said, "Yeah, of course he was like pre-Beatles,
Yeah.
rock and roll, wasn't he?"
He was.
He was.
Oh, and then we saw a plaque for where he lived, which
Yeah, that was
near
over
where Paul
in
McCartney
a
lived.
Swiss cottage. Is it, or West Hampstead?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, he lived over the road from Paul McCartney, so he
So-
must have made a little bit of money.
Well, Paul McCartney lived in Cavendish Avenue in Maid of Vale, and I think Billy Fury lived along there
Maybe
Yeah,
that
nearby.
was where
that
what
was
we
it,
saw,
yeah.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
The first album, he actually, and what surprised me about Billy Fury was he wrote a lot of his own songs.
He did. He wrote more or less the whole of that first album. But most of his hits, the big hits, he didn't write them. He wrote some of them, but I think he got in Carole King and some of the other songwriters. But he had 29 hit records. Now, people forget that. They weren't all high in the charts, but they all got in the top 30. And he's the biggest selling Decca artist, solo artist, I think, of all time.
Really?
Can you give us an example of one of his records that people might have heard of?
Halfway to Paradise.
Well, that was his big
Oh,
one.
yeah.
That was his number. That didn't quite make number one, I think. He never had a number one. It was
Didn't
number two. No, Halfway to Paradise, Like I've Never Been Gone. One of my favourites was When Will You Say I Love You, which I may mention that a bit
Okay.
later on.
He's very handsome, wasn't he?
He was.
I always thought he looked a little bit sickly.
Well, that's because he was.
Yeah.
Because he died at 42. He had rheumatic fever, I
He
believe.
did, as a kid.
As a child, and he never really kind of got over it. He had some operations on his heart. And he unfortunately died at 42, same age as Elvis.
It was the same age as well. Did you know that his real name is the same name as you?
I do. Yeah. Would you know his surname?
Winchley,
That's it.
is it?
Yeah.
And he also used to write songs under a pseudonym. Do you know what the pseudonym was?
I didn't know that, no.
Yes. Wilberforce.
Didn't know that.
Wilberforce.
I
Oh,
never-
Wilberforce.
Well, I've learned something today about Billy Fury. I didn't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that album is that first album.
Yeah.
Although it only reached number 18 in the charts, it's gone to be
Yeah.
regarded as a rock and roll classic, isn't it?
Try and find it. You can't find it now.
No.
Have you got it?
No, I did. But I don't know what happened to it. I probably moved and lost it.
You might have sold it on the boot sale because you
No, I wouldn't have done that.
do sell records.
No, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Can you tell us about your first live show?
Yeah. I went to the Holy Trinity Church School in Dalston. It was round about the time of Skiffle, and we used to have a sort of a child's band, if you like, and I had a load of biscuit tins as drums, and we used to do a skiffle routine on the stage. The stage is still there to this day, and we played a couple of Lonnie Donegan things, but the one I remember mostly was Freight Train
Going so fast.
by Chaz McDevitt. Yeah, and Chaz is still around actually. Chaz is 92, I think now, still living in Windsor. He's not in the greatest of health, but he's okay, he's doing okay.
That was I think, was that even a hit in America, that Freight
It
Train?
was a number one, and what people probably don't know is when Chaz went over there, he was on the Ed Sullivan Show, and he got a writ because the woman that wrote it was a lady called Elizabeth Cotton, and I think he recorded it without permission.
Oh.
And they had a bit of a powwow, and they decided to split the royalties 4 ways, and it was Chaz's manager, Elizabeth Cotton, and I think her manager.
Right.
So there was a bit of a thing, where there's a hit, there's a writ. One of those, yeah.
So you actually performed with this little kids band?
Oh yeah,
kids' parents
yeah, only
and
on the
stuff?
stage,
Yeah.
in
No,
school.
that's-
It was a school band. Yeah. Yeah.
But what about, can you remember who your first band that you went to see live was?
Yeah, there was 2 or 3 actually. The very first one I think was the Checkmates. You remember Emil Ford and the Checkmates?
Yes.
I saw them live, and I also saw, what were they called? Well, I saw all the early 60s bands. I'm trying to think of the very first one. I mean, we used to have a marching band in our area. They used to march through the streets. I can't remember their name either. But yeah, I mean, I think the Checkmates was probably the first.
What was their?
Well, Emil Ford had a hit called "What Do You Want to Make Those Eyes at Me For?"
Do what? Do
One of them, yeah,
do
yeah,
what?
yeah.
Do.
That's it. You
They
got
all
it.
went like that.
Yeah,
didn't
they did. Yeah.
I knew the song. I knew one by him.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Right, so the next question is kind of aimed at the 60s, would you say? But feel free to answer it you're in the 50s. Would you have identified as a teddy boy, mod, rocker, hippie, glam rocker, punk, heavy metal kid, goth,
Well,
romantic or soul boy?
I was more of a Boy Scout, to be honest, because, I mean,
Dip.
I wasn't really any of those, you know. I mean, our love at the time was the soul music.
Yeah.
We was all into the, R&B and soul. So, not really any of them, just smartly dressed, I suppose, yeah.
No, that's not an early mod, is it?
Well,
Nowadays.
I wouldn't call them mod, because mods used to have the Parker jackets on. And
I'm confused about
Yeah.
because some mods, I don't know if it was the early one, they liked, I think, soul and Motown.
Yeah, they did.
And they dressed in suits.
Yeah, well, I
But
used to wear a suit, yeah. I did,
Yeah.
mohair, I did have a mohair suit, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Do you have any funny photos?
Well,
They don't have to be funny.
Not from those days. I've got loads of funny photos of the Fulters Mentum band, which.
All right, we'll show them. We'll show them in a minute.
Bit later,
so where did you get your? Did you go down those? Or was that a bit later? Carnaby Street to get your suits.
No, there was a guy that used to make them. A Cypriot guy lived round de Beauvoir Square, and he made them. And at the time they were about £15 to make a suit. So I think my dad bought me a couple to wear, you know, and they used to sort of shine as well. They used to be like mohair, so they used to shine a little bit.
Lovely.
But I wasn't really into fashion. I'm still not, as you can see. But I've got my granddad.
Very nice.
I've got my granddad.
That rings a
cardigan.
bell.
You've earned it.
That square.
It's in
De
Hackney.
Beauvoir
It
Square.
goes
Oh, it's in
from
Hackney, is
Dawson
it?
down towards
Just off Queensbridge
Haggerston,
Road.
isn't
Oh
it?
right.
It's
That's it.
a
Haggard.
lovely
Yeah,
place.
it's a beautiful square.
Yeah.
And the other one around there is de Beauvoir Square. That's beautiful as well.
Isn't that what you just
the other
said?
side. Oh, I meant to say Albion Square.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're both lovely.
The Albion Square and de Beauvoir Square, they're beautiful, yeah.
Is there a song that you fell in love to?
Well, yeah, it's probably the Billy Fury one, you know, When Will You Say I Love You? But there's a bit of a sad story, really, because I was going out with a girl, and I went on holiday to Clacton with the boys, and we came back, and we didn't have phones in those days, you know, just see you when I get back, you know. Anyway, she came round and she bought me that record.
Oh.
Well, we were already a bit loved up, and said, yeah, did you miss me? Yeah, I missed you. Of course I did, yeah, you know, and I brought her a little present, of course. And I said, well, I'll see you on Tuesday. She said, that's great, you know. I walked her home, and I've never seen her since.
Oh.
Wow.
Don't ask me why. But it was a bit weird, you know, because why would you buy somebody that record and be all lovey-dovey?
Who knows?
Yeah, well, we were only about 15 at the time.
I bet you wrote some songs about it. Didn't you?
No, I'm glad to get rid of it. no, it's
But
true.
still, a good record.
I mean,
you liked the record.
It's weird, you know, how people carry on, but
It is.
I don't know.
So
I mean,
did you know where she lived?
yes, I did.
Did you not go around the house?
No, I didn't go around the house, no, but she used to work at Lesney Toy Factory. And they had a phone. And I thought, well, I'll ring up to see if she's okay. And you could ring up in those days. I forget what department it was, but I got through. And, oh, she's off sick today. So I said, oh, all right. I thought, oh, you know, if she wants to come round, and she never turned. So that was it.
Well, if you're watching today...
No, I don't want to see her again. No, I'm happily married. Look,
Shame on you.
Not what you missed out
happily
on.
married.
Anyway, nice song for it. Not that I know it. Is it
Oh, it's a great
Want to
song.
give us a snippet?
I don't know it.
Oh no, you better play the real thing.
He had good hair though, Billy, didn't he?
He had a great voice. He did movies as well, didn't he? Yeah.
Right, from those days long ago, what song would you like to be played at your funeral?
Well, the one I really like, and it's I was never a big Russell Watson fan, but I heard him doing the thing at the Albert Hall 2 or 3 years ago. Someone to Remember Me.
Oh.
Have you heard it?
No, but
Oh.
even the title's very appropriate.
It's
for a
absolutely, and he wrote it apparently,
funeral.
and it's a fabulous. In fact, I'm just learning it myself on the piano, and I can just about get through it. It's not an easy song to play, but it's a lovely song. I think I'll have that played.
Yeah.
But I'm not planning on going anywhere yet.
No. We always say to guests, you know, you can change it. It's not
Yeah.
set in stone, whatever you said. If you've got another 40 years to go, you might
I hope
come
so.
across another song. So you've just alluded to the fact you play the piano. So
Before we go
oh,
any further, we're just going to have a quick break.
Okay. Don't go away.
Ladies and gents, we're back. What a fantastic episode so far with Ron. Emma Scarr, what's the next question?
I just was saying, you mentioned to playing the piano. Who inspired you to pick up an instrument, and what instruments have you picked up?
Well, it's got to be the Beatles. I mean, I did get a guitar when I was 10. I had some piano lessons, which I soon got bored with, and then I ended up going to the Scouts, and you know, I didn't bother. I got fed up with it, and then once you heard "Please Please Me" and "Love Me Do" and all that, everybody just wanted to play, and that really is what did it. So it's got to be the Beatles.
So was it a guitar that you played
No,
after that?
because I was more or less tone deaf, which is actually, no, I'm not now, but I used to be. I was hopeless, you know, singing and everything. And my cousin had a little practice band, because we all lived in the one big house. They lived downstairs, we lived down. I used to go down there, and they needed somebody to play the bass guitar. And being it's a bit easier than playing 6 strings, I managed to get a bass guitar, and we had these very primitive amplifiers, you know. In fact, I plugged my bass guitar, 'cause I remember doing a gig at the Jewish school in Clapton, and I plugged my guitar, it was kind of wired in with soldering iron, into a tape recorder speaker. That's how bad we were. And we did a gig.
Yeah.
At a youth club, you know.
Right.
But I used to mess around and everything, and it was because of that, you know, we started, and then we used to play at the youth club in Holy Trinity Church, and we did pubs, and we did the odd wedding, and little gigs like that, and that's how it all started.
Yeah.
So that was your main instrument, the bass guitar?
Bass guitar was the main one, yeah.
But what you'd learnt on the piano probably helped you pick up the bass guitar, wouldn't it?
Not
Did
really.
You just
No,
play onto
no,
records?
because I only played I had 2 or 3 lessons. My mum could tinkle a little bit, and my uncles could.
Right.
So I couldn't really. We did have a piano in the house, but I never played it. But I say I play the piano. I don't really play the piano. I play the Yamaha keyboard, and the thing with that is that you can cheat like hell.
You can transpose.
Because you can
stuff,
transpose.
can't
You can play in any key. You can play in any tempo. You can play the chords with your left hand with 1 finger, or 2 fingers, or 3 if you like. It depends on what chord you want. And then you do a little bit on the right. So it's a lot easier than the piano. So I wouldn't call myself a piano player. I'm hopeless at the piano, but I can play that and get sound.
So who was the others in your band? Were they your cousins or friends? Or?
One was my cousins. I'm still friendly with them now. Actually, my cousin lives in America now, but our lead guitar player, I'm still very matey with him. He lives in Hornchurch. We got a residency in the White Hart pub in Clapton, which I don't know whether you know,
Clapton
by the Kenninghall Road. No,
like Hackney.
Yeah, Lord Shearer of Clapton. He lived around the corner. Because I went to school with Alan Sugar.
Did you?
Yeah, and we went to the same school.
There's a boot sale connection there as well, isn't
well,
there?
because he started on Kingsland Road Waste, selling car aerials, but that's another story. Anyway, so we got the residency there, and then Steve, the lead guitar player, he decided that he wanted to become a dentist, so he left, and we got another guy in called Alan. He played the keyboard actually, so it was a keyboard, bass, drums, and singer. And that's when things kind of went on to Mentum.
Well, that's a beautiful picture, look.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, you know, you didn't have much musical like tuition and it was just you and your mates, but you must have been pretty good.
What happened here was, and this is where things changed. This guy Alan, he joined us in the pub, and one day he came in and he said, "Look, I'm going for an audition for a recording band. Why don't you come with me?" So I said, "I'm hopeless. I can't go for it."
But you must have been good if the pub wanted you.
Not really.
No,
I mean, it was all honestly, it's very basic, you know. So I said, "No, you know, oh, come with us, you know." So, oh, all right then. So we go up to Finchley and we meet this guy on the piano. Now this guy, his name is Danny Beckham, and he's what they called back in the day a wonder kid. He was a classically trained pianist, and he wrote songs, and he was the staff songwriter for Morgan Music, who were linked to Parlophone. So we go round to his house, and we sit at the piano, and Alan had his keyboard with him, his organ, and he was very good, Alan. That's Alan, yeah. And I'm still mates with him. So Danny said, "Yeah, very good, you know. How about you?" Played a couple of things. I said, "Look, I'm not all that good, Danny." I said, "Well, just play a couple of things." And I think we did a little 12-bar blues, you know, whatever.
Which one's you, by the way?
That's me there.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So he said, "Look," he said, I know you're limited, but he said, I can teach you what I want you to play when we go in the studio." Now this was, I don't know whether it was a Thursday or a Friday. I think it could have been a Friday. And he said, "So as long as you do as you're told, you'll be all right." I said, "Okay, fine." So we got the job. Well, when I say we got the job, there was no money in it. He just wanted somebody to record in the studio. But that was fine. And we were in the studio on the Monday. It was at Quick in Chelsea. And we recorded a song called "Why This Way." And we had a guy who was a good singer. His name was Alan as well. And well, it was quite funny really, because he was a soul singer and he was great. The name of this group was going to be called the Sons of Chopin. The reason being was that it was very piano-y.
Yeah.
And Danny was a great pianist, you know, and it was all piano and bass and good drummer and all that, good singer. So what happened was they took the song and they said, "Look, you know, we don't really think that this black guy could be the son of Chopin because he's black."
Which one?
Well, he's not there.
Oh, right.
He got the sack.
Oh dear. What, for being black?
Yes,
Wow.
exactly, yeah. So, and I only ever met him on that Monday morning. It was a recording studio in Chelsea, and I never ever saw him again.
He's with that first girlfriend of yours.
They may have done, yeah, quite possibly. So,
because of the name of the band.
because they were going to call it the Sons of Chopin. So
Although
anyway,
one might think, obviously none of you are really the Sons of Chopin.
well, we know that, but it would be a bit strange that, you know, that Chopin would have. But he was a good singer. So anyway, next thing, this Danny, who was in charge of everything, said, "No, we're going to get another singer." So we got Frank Bennett in, this guy here. And he had a lovely, sweet voice. That song didn't go anywhere. So then the next song was a song called "Saga of a Wrinkled Man," which was the very first single, and it was very piano-y as well. And we recorded it in Morgan Studios, I think it was. We were waiting for it. It must have taken a year to come out. And they said, "Look, the BBC like it, but they will not play it because the band is called the Sons of Chopin. You're going to have to change the name."
Why?
"Because you're not the Sons of Chopin." And they will not play. Anyway, somebody come up with the name of Fortis Mentum, which is a bit of a mouthful.
What does that mean exactly?
It means like strong mind.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, see, so it's Latin.
So when you say they liked the song, who liked the song?
Well, the people at the BBC and obviously Morgan and Parlophone.
Ah, right. So he was Parlophone was the Beatles label.
Correct. That's correct.
And was what's her name in charge of that label? George Martin.
Yeah, he was involved because the Beatles were recording there. We did do some recording in Abbey Road.
You did,
but,
yeah.
But we didn't do much in there. But we that's in Abbey Road. That is actually in Abbey Road.
Right.
That's the grand.
Why were you dressed like?
Well,
going to
because
Ascot?
it was it was like Beau Brummel, you know. It was Danny's idea to dress up, and we were a little bit
Oh, he looks quite posh. Did he always like dress like that? So it's normal.
Only for the photos. Yeah, only for the photos. No, I mean we dressed like that on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we did our act.
You know who stood here? Boris Johnson. It looks like the Bullingdon Club.
You never know. Yeah. But anyway, that was the image, if you know, trying to portray an image,
Okay.
as you did in those days.
So you never met George Martin?
No,
Because I thought the story was with him was he used to deal with the comedy songs.
He
didn't
did,
he?
that's
so
correct.
EMI gave him his own little label.
That's
or put him
right.
in charge of Parlophone.
Yeah, we had nothing to do.
You had
with
nothing to do
no,
with him?
No, we
Right.
didn't. We didn't. I think Danny probably knew him because
Yeah.
he knew a lot of people in the business, you know, because he mixed in those circles. But
So what happened next with this band?
well, we had three singles out. There was Saga of a Wrinkled Man, which was the first one. And I know you were going to ask me about, you know, your sort of proudest moment. And I mean, this really was one of those moments. When the record eventually came out, we were all excited, you know. And we knew it was going to be on Pick of the Pops on Sunday afternoon with Alan Freeman. You probably may remember Fluff Freeman. So I was sitting in our place with my mum and dad, and all my aunties, you know, were tuned into the radio, and we knew it was going to be played. And then suddenly it came on the radio, and we've been waiting over a year for it to come out. And it was just one of those magical moments, you know.
I can feel it now.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We were so long waiting for it.
And it was Fluff Freeman who played it, was it?
Yeah, well, it was because they had the top 40 or the top 30, whatever it was, and then they had the new releases.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was that. And then we had, that didn't, I mean, got a lot of plays on late night radio and all sorts of stuff, but because it wasn't a hit. Then the second one that came out, which is this one here, this one got brought out in all over Europe. It's called I Can't Go On Loving You. It's the same photo as you've seen, yeah, on both sides. And that one came out in America.
Oh.
And it was the first record to come out on the Pulsar label. And then we went to Germany, we did some TV work in Germany on it. Still wasn't a hit. And then
What about the B-side? Humdiggle.
yeah, well that's a bit of a children's tune actually. It's a bit of a kiddies tune. And then the third single was called I Gotta Go. Oh, this is the one that was in Italy.
Did
that
you
one.
lose it?
That was in
it?
France. That one there. It's the French version.
Oh, I see. Yes, that's a different.
It's a French one.
What's this one? I've never seen that Parlophone thing before.
That's an advanced copy, I think. It's
Oh,
a
right.
demonstration copy.
Okay.
And that's Gotta Go, which was the third single.
That was the first single.
Third. That's the third, yeah. So there were three altogether.
It's starting to look a bit 60s.
Yeah, that's a bit
isn't it?
bit
So I
flat.
think-
Have you looked in to see if these are worth anything?
Oh yeah, they are probably worth about 50 quid each or
Yeah, but he
something.
doesn't want to sell them.
No,
I know you don't. But
No, well, fun enough, I bought a couple on the internet myself for 20 or 30 quid to put in the loft, you know, for posterity. But anyway, the point about it was that we did some work. You know, we did shows at the Whiskey Go Go and Staircase Club and all sorts of places, universities and that. But we never really earned any. We couldn't really earn a good living.
where is the Whiskey Go Go?
It's in Wardour Street. It was.
Ah, right. So it's not the American with.
Oh no.
One in America.
No.
Is
Unfortunately,
that you when you were?
that's me then. Yeah. I was about 19 there.
Which one is wrong?
I was played on Radio 1.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. Steve Wright in the afternoon.
Right, I remember Silver Right Show. Good show.
Yeah.
Where's that photo that was the outside one? Can I show that?
Oh yeah, that's the one on. Oh, that's a good story. Yeah.
Look at this. This is well, you tell us.
Well, we came out of Abbey Road one day. We knew we were going to have some pictures taken, and we crossed over the zebra crossing, and there's a big statue there. That's the statue. I think it's all like a war memorial or something. So we had some pictures done. We had a proper photographer there, and then about over a year later, the Beatles had their picture taken on that
They
crossing.
copied you.
So they copied us, yeah.
And there's the crossing. Is that the very same crossing?
I don't know because it's on
It is.
it's on a fork. I think there's two crossings. I'm not sure. I've not been there for a long time. Let's have a look.
We were there not too long ago because we did a video.
Oh, did you?
Well, we went on a Beatles tour with a friend.
Oh, great.
He took us around to all their big landscapes. And I'm probably the only person in the world who went to the Abbey Road zebra crossing and never crossed it because I was filming her. And I forgot to cross it myself.
Because it's on a fork, isn't it? And that,
Yeah.
that might be the one on the... I don't know, I'm going to have to go down there and have a look now. Yeah. Anyway, that
Right,
was...
so that's a lovely.
So also, I understand that a little bird... Oh, talking about you went to school with Alan Sugar. Do you know about Alan Sugar?
No.
You didn't know him at school?
Oh,
right?
I knew him, but not well.
No.
Just as in the playground.
And you do boot sales.
Yeah.
And the Saturday boot sale that we might be going to on Saturday. Can you remember when it was on the... I mean,
Yeah.
put me straight on this. When it used to be over the road.
Yes, that's
and
right.
it got closed down.
Yeah.
Now there's a bloke who sells on that Saturday boot. He insists that Alan Sugar bought that field and closed it down out of spite.
Well, I heard he bought it, but I didn't know. Why would he do it in spite? I wonder why.
Well, because he didn't want the traffic and that on it.
Oh, it's on the other side now.
And every time a helicopter flies over there on the Saturday morning, and there normally is one every week.
Yes,
He goes, that's Alan Sugar though, it's up there.
maybe. Yeah. I don't. He never seems happy though, does he?
No, he
I
doesn't.
mean, I don't know
Money-
why.
Alan, if you're watching,
Yeah.
you're fired, mate.
Yeah, you tell him.
Right, should we stick with Proudest musical moment? I mean, we've
Oh,
had
yeah, we've-
Proudest, but is there another?
Yeah, there's a little bird tells us you also supported David Bowie.
We did. Yeah, we did. We were doing a show. It was a little mini tour of Kent, and how it came about. Danny Beckerman, the main songwriter of the show, he ended up leaving because he never really wanted to go on the road anyway. And we had a guy come in. His name was Bob Flagg, and Bob Flagg was actually the leader of the Riot Squad. Now, the Riot Squad were very successful in the mid-60s. They were with Joe Meek. Some of your viewers may remember Joe Meek, and they had some singles out with Joe and all the rest of it, all going pretty good. And they ended up splitting up, like bands do. And Bob Flagg eventually joined Fulton's Mentum, but the Riot Squad had David Bowie as a lead singer for 3 months. And Bob had to go round to David Bowie's house and sit with his mum and dad and say, because he was only young, he was only about 19 or whatever. And he said, look, we want your son to come and play with us, is that okay? And I had a cup of tea, apparently. It's all in Bob Flagg's book. It's called Drumstick.
Why did they have to ask the parents?
Well, because you sort of did in those days. You did in those days. It was a little bit...
Just got swanning off.
So how old was David?
He'd have been about
Bowie?
19 then, yeah. Because, I mean, he was born the same year as me. I'm born in 47. So he'd been 66 time. So he'd have been 19, yeah. We're the same age. So yeah, it was great. Anyway, he joined up. And so Bob knew him. And he ended up being with the Riot Squad for... It's all chronicled. If you read anything about Bowie, you'll see the 3 months when he was with them. And they got a list of all the gigs. They did a lot of gigs. So fortunately, Bob kept in touch. And then suddenly David Bowie had a monster hit with Space Oddity, as most people know. And there was a promoter down in Kent. I can't remember his last name. It was Harry something, this guy called Harry. And he was promoting David Bowie. Consequently, we get the job to go on the show with him. Now, as much as Bowie was fantastic, of course, so talented. But when we were with him, it was about 5 dates. It was Gravesend, Chatham, Rochester, and a couple of others I can't remember. And all he had was a 12-string guitar. So he's gone on stage. I mean, he was top of the bill.
So he's playing solo.
He was on his own, no band. And there were 6 of us. Now, we had a piano, organ, rhythm section. We had the works, 3 or 4 singers as well. We had a great sound. When he went on, all he had was a 12-string guitar. So he's playing away, and it was a bit of a rough crowd, to be honest. They were there to see him. So, because he did his Space Oddity on the 12-string, and he went down pretty good. But then he put his 12-string down, and he started to recite a poem.
Mm-hmm.
And
Don't think that would go down well in Chatham.
no, you know what I mean? It was a bit like that, and you think, what the hell is he doing? But that was him, And then suddenly, there was a bit of a lull after the hit record, and then suddenly he had done the Aladdin Sane thing, and then he went mega.
So do you mean the album Space Oddity?
No, the single.
No, it was a single.
Was there an album called Space Oddity?
Yeah.
Did that come later then?
I'm not quite sure.
That's my
if they-
favourite
if-
Bowie album,
If
I
they
think.
cashed in on that album then.
But so he was working with that Riot Squad, and he did a solo thing as well.
Well, no, his first album, I think his first album was Hunky Dory, wasn't it?
No,
Or was that
there's
before
Most
that?
of the World and
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Space Oddity.
Yeah.
There is an album called Space Oddity.
Is there?
Yeah.
So what was
So-
he like in the green room?
So did he have was it the curly hair face? Sorry.
Yes, he
One
was.
question
No,
at
he
a
was a
time.
bit curly head, if I remember
Yeah.
right. Yeah, but he was with Angie Bowie, and in the dressing room, he's very quiet, and he was sitting there with his guitar, you know, because it's a 12-string, so it's difficult to tune up. He's tuning it up and everything, and he didn't say a lot really, but she was pretty loud. She's American and typical, as you'd expect her to be, you know. And funny enough, Bob Flagg, when they split up, which they did after quite a few years, Bob and her stayed friends. And Bob used to do a show called Crisis Cabaret, and she used to perform in Bob's show. So he stayed friends with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a nice guy apparently, Bowie. Everybody liked him. He had his ups and downs, you know, with different things. So I think he was, you know, he went to Berlin, didn't he? And that didn't work out for him. He wanted to see how they lived over there, and he wrote songs with, is it Iggy Pop? I think, I'm not sure.
Well, he wrote.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
He produced Iggy Pop's album.
But there's quite a nice story going right the way forward. It must be 30 odd years. The drummer of the Riot Squad was a friend of mine called Del Roll, and Del diversified into transportation of pop groups, and he did all the big tours, Michael Jackson, lots of others, and one of them was the David Bowie. So he's on this tour, and I mean, Del didn't do any of the umping. He was just he was just in charge. You know, he had all the trucks and everything, and he happened to be on the gig. It was on a David Bowie gig, and apparently David Bowie knew that Del was the boss of the company. So he sent a message round to Del, I want to see you. And he come round, and Del said, oh, I haven't seen you since the Riot Squad days, you know. And he said, look, I want to take you and your wife, and me and Iman, which is his wife, out for dinner. And I want to talk about the old days.
Oh, nice.
So Del and his wife went out with David and Iman for a lovely dinner. And Del said it was great, you know, talking about when they rehearsed at the Eagle in Tottenham. You know, remember the Tottenham Royal?
No.
You're a bit too young, yeah. But right opposite the Tottenham Royal, there was a pub, and it was a sort of rehearsal place. You could hire it for £1 or something, and that's where they rehearsed with Bowie. But he's gone now.
Yes.
And
Ladies and gents, we are back with the fantastic guest Ron Regan.
correct.
Next question.
So, Ron
Emma
Regan,
Scar.
who's your favourite all-time band or artist?
Well, it's got to be the Beatles. They are the best ever. Nobody will ever top the Beatles, and obviously the Billy Fury's my favourite. And I've got to mention Sam Cooke, because Sam Cooke was also absolutely great. And I don't know whether anybody knows this, but Sam Cooke is Rod Stewart's favourite singer.
Really?
Yeah, and he always mentions, if you ever see any interviews, he's talking about singing, he always mentions Sam Cooke.
So apart from don't know much about history, what was his other?
Well, he had quite a few big hits. He had Another Saturday Night. He had Having a Party, Twisting the Night Away.
yeah.
Remember that one? He had Chain Gang. You remember the Chain Gang?
No, I don't.
That's the
I'm nodding.
sound of the men working
Oh
on
yeah,
the...
yes. Sorry, of course. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah, he's lovely.
That's the sound of the man working on the
That noise, ooh ah, was the noise he also made when he was shot, because he
Oh.
was another one who was murdered.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was by a woman, wasn't it, in a hotel?
that's right. Yeah, he was in. It was a motel, and she was the lady on the desk.
Oh, right.
She
Won't be going there on the holidays.
well, she'd had a row, and it was a bit naughty.
That's
what
the
was
thing
going
In
on.
about America.
I assume.
Yeah.
Too many guns lying in drawers.
Yeah, she just pulled out a gun and shot him. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been doing that. I'm a music teacher. I've been doing. Don't know much about history of my little kids. Like
Oh, really?
Class ukulele class, yeah, and they love it.
Mm.
You know those old songs. I mean, you know, I don't want to be too nostalgic, but there's the feeling behind it. It's just very moving. It's so simple,
Yeah,
and the tune is so
Yeah.
perfect. and the kids.
You know,
just love it.
most of these songs start off with a G going to an E minor. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I must have, because I wrote down the chords for them. You're right. Yeah, and it just works, doesn't it? It's a common strategy for song because it works.
I'll do 3 or 4 of his songs in my little spot. You know.
Did you mention what a wonderful world it would be?
He wrote that too.
Yeah,
Brian
Brian
we do
Ferry
that one
does
as well with the kids. Am I right that he wrote? Then don't know much about history.
Yes,
think about
Wonderful World.
Yeah, we
That's
do that.
Wonderful
I do
World.
that with the kids as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, it's the same song.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. That's why I do it.
He's one of his classics was "A Change Is Going to Come." You know, it's sort of a protest. You know, like a black.
Did he write that?
He wrote that song.
Okay, because that's been covered by others as well, hasn't it?
He sings that.
That's brilliant.
But he had such a wonderful voice, you know. I mean, Nat King Cole had another great black singer, you know.
He must have been quite young.
When he died, when he got shot, I think he must have been, well, it was about 64, so what would he have been, 30, if that? Yeah, something like that.
Anyway, I always think this must be a really hard question for our guests, but your favourite album?
Well, I mean, I do still like that first Beatles album, you know, with the Please Please Me, that was, with all that. I like all the early Beatles stuff, really, From Me to You, and when they did, you know, they did a couple of covers on there as well, if I remember rightly. Please Mr. Postman, I think that was on it as well. But all those early Beatles songs.
Yeah.
That was recorded in one day, that album, wasn't it?
Hard to believe, isn't it? Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Wish we did it like that now.
Yeah.
We actually went to a Beatles, there was a Beatles event on in Walthamstow last weekend.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the Trades Hall.
Yeah, at the Trade Hall. Do you know that place? It's like a
Yes,
working
I know where it is,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I didn't know that, yeah.
Yeah, they were mainly playing the early Beatles stuff.
Yeah.
And John Lennon's replica Rolls Royce was in the car park.
Not really.
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, the one that was psychedelic.
The psychedelic Rolls Royce.
When you say replica,
It's not the real one.
Oh, it's not the real one, no.
No.
So it's not his one.
No, but it's a
replica
Rolls
John
Royce
Lennon's
painted in them colours. And we did a little video on it, which I was going to release, but I forgot to press record.
Oh, it's a shame.
Well, we've got a photo, haven't we?
Well, no, but we have actually seen it before. We went to a
posh car boot.
a posh car boot in King's Cross, a trendy.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
I'd heard
a
about
vintage
that.
And the Rolls Royce was there then.
Oh, right, okay.
Because there was a classic car section.
I thought about going down there with my old car, but I never got round to it.
Yeah, you should do.
Is it worth going? Is
King's
it?
Cross is so different now, and it's actually really nice. I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
admit.
Somebody told me that. Yeah.
It was £7 to get in.
Wow.
But it's if you're selling your records and that, you might make a few quid down there.
Yeah, I might do.
Especially with your jalopy on show.
I'm getting a bit lazy this year, to be honest. I've only done about 3 boot sales, but I'm going to go Saturday, definitely.
Lovely.
Right, well, thank you so much. You've been a marvellous guest.
Well,
We've only got one question
Right.
left now, which is, have you brought any precious bits of memorabilia?
Well,
we've got his
I
records.
suppose it's the record, you know. I mean, I did say about the original photograph of the first band, but I mean, all these really. I mean, the thing with the records is they you know, you can do a gig and it's done and finished. But if you've got a souvenir like that, you know, these are from. Well, it's nearly 60 years ago now.
Yeah.
So, I suppose...
What's this? This is...
Oh, that was the EMI publicity thing. We've got our record on there, you know, like new releases, and there it is, Fulton's Mentum, Saga of a Wrinkled Man.
Look at this, you're with Des O'Connor.
Yeah,
Another
we're
great
all there,
names.
yeah.
Bobby Gentry, Louisiana man. I
I'll
love
tell you what
Bobby
we have got
Gentry.
here, actually.
She disappeared, did she, Bobby Gentry?
I don't know what happened to her, but...
She ran off with the black singer in your back. There was a threesome. They're having a threesome.
You never know.
Jesus, what's going on back then?
I was going to show you, I must have put it back in the case. Our publicity man at EMI was Max Clifford.
Well, really?
Yeah. Yeah, we got a press release. I got his name on it. You know, any inquiries, contact Max
It was
Clifford.
the same one.
Well, he ended up going to prison, didn't he? And then I think he passed away about 4 or 5 years ago now. But he was a bit of a Jimmy Savile, you know. So don't even
Doing
go
the
there.
Jimmy Savile.
Oh,
Don't even go there.
I don't think I showed this one. I do like the way you dress there. It reminds me of Oliver Twist, Oliver the musical.
We did
Artful Dodger.
we did another interesting thing, which never got released. But you know, there was the Who came out with an opera.
Yeah.
And we did what they called Fulton's Mentum Opera. And it was after, when Bob Flagg joined us, and we went in the studio and we recorded it. I've got it's only a demo thing of it. but it was like about a half an hour thing, and it was the thesis was it was about an Indian soldier, an English soldier that was out in India, and he fell in love with a girl, and it all went wrong, you know. But it was quite a good piece of music, and we were quite pleased with it. And we used to do it in the show. We used to do one spot of this Indian routine, and we used to have the props and everything, and some incense, and it was great, you know.
Yeah.
But
It's theatrical.
It was more of a theatrical thing than just playing the music. But we did it a few times, and it went really well. But then we split up, you know, and then I moved on to other things.
So this EMI thing is interesting. Look,
Yeah.
This is from May the 10th, my brother's birthday, 1968,
Yeah.
and these are the releases.
That's
It's
it.
got Tyrannosaurus Rex.
That's it.
You saw them?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, saw them in Dagenham.
Steve Miller Band.
Yeah,
He sounds a bit early for. I thought he was like a late 70s man.
Cliff Bennett and the
Yeah.
Rebel Rousers,
The
Pink
Is-
Floyd.
The Isley Brothers, Pink Floyd. They were pumping out some gear,
It
weren't they?
must feel good being on the same list.
Mentioned
as
with all
of
them
that.
bands, man.
Yeah, Peter and Gordon. Remember them? They're
Yeah.
still going, I think. Well, Peter and Gordon. He was Peter Asher. He was the brother of Jane Asher.
Yeah, we saw the
Yeah.
car
Jimmy Ruffin
Yeah.
was big.
on the Beatles tour that we went on with the cabbie.
Oh,
He
right.
took us to their old house, the Asher's house.
Oh, really?
Because McCartney lived up in the gods.
Right. That's right. He lived with them, didn't he? That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah.
You might as well tell everybody about the band that
Oh,
you're playing
okay.
with now.
Well, this is the London Philharmonic Skiffle Orchestra. I've been with these guys now for about 17, 18 years, and we do comedy routines and sing and gags and all, comedy songs, all sorts of stuff.
Where do you play?
you can't see it here, but
No, I can show it.
Ron's playing some very weird. What is it? that
It's a
instrument?
banjo bass.
A banjo bass.
Yeah, it's a bass guitar.
It's
We've got
probably the only one in the world, is it?
No, there's about, well, they used to be. They used to use these in old jazz bands in,
Oh, did they?
in the 20s, yeah, but they sort of fell out of favour. But the guy that made that one, he made about half a dozen, I think.
Still, there's not many in the
No,
world,
no,
is there?
not really, no. And we do some impressions and stuff,
So,
yeah.
where are you playing?
Well, we don't do that much in this country these days. I'll tell you where we are working in August. We're doing the Broadstairs Folk Festival.
Oh, yeah, the week. Folk
Well,
week.
we're not there for the whole week.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
they
forget
do
what
folk
days
week.
we're there now, but we're doing that, yeah. And we do the odd folk
It's a lovely
festival.
festival.
We've done Chippenden Folk Festival, Warwick Folk Festival, a few others, and then but we're off to Denmark and Germany in August. We've been going there regularly now for the last 20 years,
Well,
really.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
But it
so-
takes-
Where do you get the energy from? Because I play in Wanstead once a month, and that does me in.
Well, yeah, I know, but what do you do when you've been doing it all your life? It's
Yeah.
great, you know. It's lovely. I love playing. I mean, I'd like to play a bit more, but the work's dropped off a bit because, I mean, years ago there was lots of work. I mean, especially when I was in my comedy act. I was in a comedy act for 30 years, you know, after Fulton's Mentum, because that all fell apart in 1970, and then I ended up going off to play with Marty Wilde. Do you remember Marty Wilde?
I do. He was a teenager in love,
He was, that's right.
and he gave birth to Kim Wilde.
Really?
Well, he didn't give birth to her.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
wife
yeah,
did.
so we could.
Well, we got a call to go and see Marty and rehearse in this place in the West End. It was, I don't know whether there was a place called the Lucky Horseshoe, and there was a rehearsal room downstairs, and we go down there. First time we went down there, and Kim was there.
Oh, was she?
And she was only about 12, something like that, maybe 11 or 12. And then, because later on, you know, she had a big #1 hit.
Yeah.
But he was nice, Marty. You know, he's still going. He's 85 now,
Wow.
and he's still playing.
So did you play with him?
Yes, in the Wildcats.
Okay.
Yeah, we did a tour up north. We did a week at the Fiesta in Stockton-on-Tees, and then loads of social clubs. And yeah, it must have been about 3 months, something like that.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Right, Ron.
Happy days.
Mention your socials. You've got a website, haven't you?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Well, if anybody wants to have a look at Fulton's Mentum, we've got a memorabilia site, fultusmentum.com. It's all on there. London Philharmonic Skiffle Orchestra, which is lpso.co.uk. Have a look on that. And
See you at the boot sale.
see you at the boot sale, yeah, absolutely.
Before you go, don't forget subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, give a thumbs up, and ring the notification bell.
Thank you
Ding
so
dong.
much.
Thank you, Ron. See you next time.
Okay, thank you.
Now, the eagle-eyed viewers amongst you will have probably noticed, through all the excitement, we forgot to give Ron his Desert Island Dickheads fridge magnet. So I'm at the boot sale, and luckily enough he's here. And that's why, if you ever come to Chigwell boot, he'll always stick out a Marcus. Look, that's his car. Well, it's his, I call it a jalopy. Here's the man.
Oh, hello. Good morning.
How are you, mate?
How are you? Nice
Ron,
to see you.
through all the excitement the other day on your
Yes.
interview, we forgot to give you the world famous Desert Island Dickhead fridge magnet.
Well, that's worth money, isn't it?
Well, it will be in about 5 years. You'll be able to sell it on here.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't part with it.
Oh, well done,
I'm
man.
gonna- How do I put it on then?
It's a fridge magnet. That's
Oh,
a
it's
magnet.
on the fridge.
Yeah.
I want to put it on here.
Ah,
like
right.
a medal, you know.
Thanks for doing it anyway,
You're
mate.
welcome, yeah.
Cheers.
Look forward to it.